point helper, and this time I'm just going to leave it as a box. Parent the targeted point helper, then parent this one to that, and now I can go in and say, actually, instead of using that bone, use this object here, and you can see that the eye suddenly flipped around. So that's kind of a bad thing. Let's actually go back, let's unparent our eye, and this is where it's good, because if you need to adjust anything, you can just say, well, let's just unlink the eye. I don't want to move the eye. I don't want it to suddenly change where it's located in the head. And for some reason, I don't see the pivot in the right spot. Looks like the pivot of this whole object is for some reason not in the center of everything. I'm just going to go make sure that that is the case. I may have bumped something by mistake. Everything looks like it's in the right spot again now. I don't know why, but I must have bumped something. So we'll just go in and make sure those are correct. And again, you can see that the eyes are suddenly being bumped, so let's just unlink that and go ahead and readjust it. So you can see right now I've just made a simple error, but it's easy to fix without it affecting our mesh at all, because I haven't gone and actually tried to set it up on the actual eyeballs themselves. Now what I can do is I can say the up node for this should actually be that point helper, and I just need to reset up which axes are the source, and it looks like that's the correct one now, Y instead. And same thing, let's go and set this one up. Pick the new up node, change the axis, and we should be able to reparent the eyeballs back in now. And you can see now when I move it from side to side, I'm not getting any twist sort of along the z-axis that we're looking on. It is just rotating around the y. That's because its up node now is actually aligned to it. So it's always a good idea to have, anytime you're dealing with a rotation, it's good to have the object that's being controlled via the rotation parented to another node that is aligned to it, so that if essentially you're starting at 0, 0, 0. Rotations can cause enough problems, as you may have found out by now, but if you take a little bit of time to deal with them, you can actually get them to work quite well. Oops, I want the geo. Let's just do unhide by name, and now we should actually have an eye setup that targets and focuses on the control object. We can move the control object, and it focuses the eyes if we move it in and out. Not a whole lot. It's actually not going to make any change because these are lined up, but now we can actually go in and adjust the focus however we want individually on each eye. Often I've found that you need to cheat sometimes. You get the head at the right angle, the character will look cross-eyed, or the one eye will start getting buried in the side of the head and it starts looking really strange. You almost need to cheat out the other eye. And so having the individual controls is really important to be able to do that. So there is essentially a really straightforward, simple eye setup that works really well in production.